So in the next minutes, I would like to present you what, in fact, in few words, JPND, Joint Programming Initiative on Neurodegenerative Disease, is. Just to give you the background, this is the distributions of the frequency of neurodegenerative disease. You see that the y-axis is in person, that is, dementia over 95 years of age is about 30% of the populations. And you see that stroke and Parkinson also do more than 5% of the whole populations. What is also interesting, and that has been presented by Commissioner, that is population are aging. But population are aging both in developed regions and not developed regions. And if we estimate the absolute number of cases, and we see the size of these different populations, you can see that rapidly, despite a lower life expectancy, the number of cases in less developed regions will explode also. Another point is the number of cases we have in Europe. In 2010, we estimated the number of cases to 6 million with a societal cost of 72 billion euros. 2014, we expect this will double. It will approximately double every 20 years if we stay in that conditions. Last but not least, new tools are developing actually, and it may be able to see, even in healthy people, what's the state of brain lesions in Alzheimer's. On this picture, you can see that at least 30% of healthy elderly subjects have already symptoms of what could be Alzheimer's pathology. So we clearly have to face a major societal challenge for the coming years. If we just see how we can face this threat, it's really interesting to see how our effort in research are fragmented or not, and if Europe invests more or less than the United States in that domain. Here you have a picture prepared in 2007 of the amount of money which has been put, and this is the size of the bubble, for instance, in nuclear fusions, on the full, I got it. There, nuclear fusions, which is highly coordinated in terms of research and with a large investment. And you see that at the bottom there, in 2007, there, we have dementia and Alzheimer's. Fragmented, less investment. Really, the idea is to move this point, to increase the size of the bubble, and to move this one in that direction. All the story began in 2008 during the summer when during an informal meeting on competitiveness for ministers of research. And we had at that time a workshop chaired by Mrs. Valérie Pécresse, the French Minister of Higher Education and Research, and prepared by Professor André Sirota and Sir Leszek Borysewicz. And at the end of this meeting, the conclusion was to put the issue of neurodegenerative disease in the top priorities of the agenda of the European Council. And the second point was to launch a joint program. It was really the birth of that type of initiative of research on this disease, combining both socio-economic and medico-biological issues. So what is joint programming? It's a new member states-led initiative in Europe which aims to address grand challenge to EU society by coordinating national research programs within the EU, in fact, to increase the impact and effectiveness of research effort. This had been sourced from a communication from the Commission of the European Parliament in July 2008. A major social grand challenge, you have some examples there: energy, climate change, food and health, and neurodegeneration. If we have more precisely a definition of joint programming, we should say that European countries are engaging voluntarily on a variable geometry basis to tackle the major societal questions. In the definition, development, and implementations of a common strategic research agenda and based on a common vision on how to address major societal challenge. This is a definition of joint programming. What are joint programming goals, and especially JPND goals? Really, the idea is to tackle the challenge of AD and other neurodegenerative disease, to develop new treatment and preventive strategies, to improve health and social care approaches, to raise awareness, destigmatization of neurodegenerative disorder in the society, and to alleviate the economic and social burden of this disease. We have set up an organization, a management structure which is composed of a management board, and today we have 25 countries represented, mandated to act, and have the honor to chair this management board. We have an executive board of 5 members, Professor Adriana Maggi from Italy, and Connie from Ireland, Edward Beam from the Netherlands, and Mogens Holder, Denmark, who are working hard every month just to make things progress. And a scientific advisory board composed of 15 members, 15 outstanding scientists chosen for their excellence in research, and divided in 3 groups, 5 members for basic research, 5 members for clinical research, 5 members for social and healthcare research. JPND research strategy, what is it? This is really the goal of this meeting today. It's a holistic roadmap for future EU-wide activity and investment. It's not a review of the field. It's not a list of calls for proposals. The delivery of this JPND research strategy has taken into account outputs from scientific and strategic workshops, national and European portfolios, and broad consultation with stakeholder groups. These are the different steps. First, we had a mapping exercise of national and European programs to see what already exists. Then we had these strategic prioritizations with 3 thematic workshops, stakeholder discussions, and the 4th workshops to integrate all these informations. Then we had the public consultation exercise on the website. And then we take into account for delivery outputs from scientific workshop, consultations, and discussion at the management board to clearly incorporate founders' political and policy considerations. Just to give you an idea of JPND mapping, which will be available on the web very soon, let's say today probably, the estimation we have made among these 25 countries is that we're invested 1.62 billion, 357 programs, 1,887 smaller programs. And you see that the amount of money is quite really impressive. The other point, another example of this mapping, just show that most of research is dedicated to neurodegenerative research in general, including neuroscience and basic neuroscience. The largest part with 30% is AD, and then second 15% is Parkinson's disease. So this really reflects exactly the way things are going actually. But while preparing the strategic research agenda, we develop implementation and test case. And the idea that was the scientific advisory board recommended us to launch rapid actions. And that's why we developed in May 2011 a call for European research project of the optimization of biomarkers and harmonization of their use between clinical centers. This was really for us a test case just to demonstrate that we are able to work like this. We launched the call on May. 21 countries participated. They were committed for 16 million euros, and finally 4 projects were retained on the 7th of December. We also developed other actions. The Center of Excellence Network in Neurodegeneration is considered as part of JPND. Initially, it was run by DZNE, MRC, and CIHR, and now Germany, UK, Ireland, Canada, Belgium, Italy have joined these initiatives. They have calls on biomarkers, imaging animal models, and they have put on table 4 million euros already. We should say also that JPND supports the GPI to co-works. That was a proposal which was submitted in February 2011 to refine and promote the adoption of European-level guidelines in the domain of the framework condition of GPI. And finally, as was mentioned by Commissioner, we participate in this outstanding initiative, which is the European Innovation Partnership of Active and Healthy Aging. So that was in a few words what I wanted to say about JPND, and now I give the floor to Thomas Gasser, the President of our Scientific Advisory Board. Thomas.